Alright, this is the fourth attempt at me making this video. I felt like the first few qualities were terrible, and then my third attempt was verbally great, and I promise I will never put my hair up for a video ever again. I actually couldn't abide by it. It was actually that terrible. I was not going to subject you to my bad hair. Not that this is good hair, but this is not as bad as it was. Okay, so what is this video about? Why did it take me 4 tries to make it? This video is about, oh, we've all seen it. It's bad vampirism in B horror movies. The subject of turning, conversion, biting, all that kind of stuff. Drink my blood, be one of us. All that nonsense. Alright, I'm gonna do it. Maybe I should tie a rope around my ankle or something, in case one of you have to pull me out of the snake pit. Oh, first let's go over all the things that are so fictional. You know, people are like, okay, so you're obviously saying that I can't be turned into a vampire. Well, what else is fictional? Anything ever written by Stephanie Meyer. That's right. Screw Edward Cullen and his bad hair day. You know, if you're the person that thinks that vampires burn by daylight, can't walk into churches, what else? I'm repelled by crosses and garlic, and I can't cross running water. All this, you know, if you're looking for vampires, you know, quote, immortal vampires, and this is what you're looking for, you will look for the rest of your life. You will only find them in 2 places: the TV screen and books. That's it. Real vampirism is so far off what we see in Hollywood. It's almost disgustingly off. And the biggest thing I see, places like where Whisper, I get a lot of inspiration from Whisper. You know, things like, I'm a vampire. If these are the things that you're saying, please stop saying them. You're just embarrassing yourself. Really. We would prefer that we never have to hear that name again. We are as close. We have adopted the name, but there's huge misconceptions with the name. The biggest comeback that I get when I say something to people and they say, "You're a vampire," and I say, "No, I am Psy, and I am Sang, and I am Tantric." And people are like, "I have no idea what you're talking about." I'm like, "Of course you don't." Maybe I should be having some chamomile tea or something. My teacup is empty. This video I'm going to have to pause a few times. I have asthma and I'm trying not to run out of oxygen. So you'll have to excuse me. We feel that if anyone pops up out of the den of crazy people and says, "I'm a vampire," I'm actually, I immediately remember Vampire's Kiss, where the main character, this poor Nicolas Cage is awesome, goes running down the street, "I'm a vampire, I'm a vampire." If you've seen the video on YouTube where it's looped for an hour, it's great. That actual character is really what we see when we see people who are looking to be turned. This is the color you're painting over yourself. Nicolas Cage screaming down the street. What was his what was his secretary's name? It's a great meme photo where he's like, "You don't say." Oh my god. When people want to be turned, like, we instantly know that you're not dealing with a full deck. That there's something wrong in your life that you want changed, and you want to no longer take responsibility for your life. This is what we see when people are saying, "Can you please change me? Can you please turn me?" When we see people that say conversion is possible and they're avidly advertising it, it's so unethical. And we often wonder if there are more nefarious purposes for when they do this. I mean, oh, that really is a dangerous topic. I mean, people who talk to minors and convince them to go out in the open and meet them in public. And I mean, this is a really good way to get yourself kidnapped. So, all of that, that's really what this video is about. And the way the community feels about all of it. When people want to be turned, we want nothing to do with you. We're like, you got some crazy in your life. We don't want to touch you with a 10-foot pole. Most of us are going to tell you that you have to be born a vampire. With that being said, that there are people that are completely unaware and totally oblivious to their vampirism. This is where I would say, please go look up my video about an awakening, because that would be the next step. You're born a vampire. You're born oblivious. Or you happen to be born with enough forward thought that you are very conscious about this in the beginning of life. I was very lucky. I have a mother who is metaphysical. So energy work and mystical practices and studies have always run in my life. My mother did not help me awaken, though. That was something that I had to go through by myself. And you know, for those of you that are in the community and have children and you don't know what to do, that'll be in another video. That is a great idea. From the sanguinarian point of view, when they talk about turning, I've never heard any banter from the sanguinarian side of the community about turning. They don't really have any theories about turning. I mean, I have heard that people have been bitten, but I know them personally, and I consider it and they consider it more of an assault. The human mouth is teeming with bacteria. I mean, a dog's mouth has less germs in it. I feel that if a vampire is going to bite you, if I'm going to bite you, it's because I really don't like you. If I ever, I mean, I've told people before, I'm like, you need to step back or I'm going to leave a baseball-sized hole in you. And they're like, with what? Oh, and I flash those pearly whites and they think I'm smiling. It's not a smile. That's never something I'll whenever I have to warn someone like that about my personal space, I am so serious. I'll leave a baseball-sized hole in you. I will reach in and take a bite. And that does not mean that I like you. That means I really hate you. I hate you enough that I am possibly trying to commit murder at that point. That's the way I feel about it. It's never gotten to that point. I've never, ever had to maim someone. And I pray that I never will ever have to. But that's how I feel about it. I don't know if other sanguinarians share that feeling with me. I don't know if they were ever going to physically bite someone if it's romantic. Not, at least not to the extent that I would bite someone. I mean, there's a difference between a bite that's going to maim someone and a love bite. A nibble. Oh, what's that line from Madagascar? What's a nibble between friends? Come on, Maurice, and give me a nibble. Um, there's a difference. I've never heard anyone in the sanguinarian community say, I can bite and turn you. And I have heard of people talk about conversion before, but when it came to sanguinarianism and conversion, these people were very sparse, and they were not good members, long-standing members, or ethical members in the community, so you can assume that they're not dealing with a full deck. Psyvamps, psychic vampires, have their own theories about conversion, and the biggest theory I think I've heard is that it's considered a psychic attack, and it's prolonged psychic attack. It's not just feeding on someone. It's not just feeding on a donor. This is purposely smashing out the lights that are in someone's energy system, going systematically down and just bash. This is so wrong. I mean, wrong in both parties. There's the party that wants it and is willing to consent, and there's so many reasons why that's wrong. And the person that says, yes, I can do this to you, both of you, the karmic backlash is huge. And even if this could be done, by the time you get dead, that your life is over and you go into the afterlife is what would be considered an uncontrolled variable. Because you did this on purpose to yourself, the ether could say, you do not get to carry this on into the next life because you had this done to you on purpose. Let's just put that one out there. People do have like magical mishaps where they've ruined their etheric body to such an extent that they have cases of vampirism. I know somebody who has done this. Do I think that they were a vampire in their previous lives? Yeah. Were they? Yeah. But that doesn't mean that it doesn't happen. This is something that can happen over lifetimes if that's what you believe in. This is the theory. And as far as I'm concerned, there's so many uncontrolled variables. Your victim, they would have to be cut off from every source of new energy. This gets gruesome. This is physically breaking someone, mentally breaking someone, energetically breaking someone. There are ways to go about this. Essentially, you'd probably be under house arrest. This is making someone so ill. I can't imagine how you would come through after something like that and be able to even get a hold of any abilities that you might have. I don't know at that point what your quality of awakening would be. There are people that are saying, I'm trying to see energy and I am having trouble, and what do I do about this? This is a video I will eventually get to. And I said to them, well, are you getting a headache? And they say, no, I'm not getting anything. And I'm like, do you feel anything here? And they go, no. And I'm like, well, then maybe you should work on your third eye. Maybe you should try and exercise that. Maybe go get a healing specifically geared towards that. And they say, oh, I never thought about that. And I'm like, you're trying to see energy. You could have something wrong, in your third eye. If you're going to, quote, knock out somebody's lights and punch out a chakra literally and damage it, do you really think they're going to be able to see energy? Do you really think they're going to be able to manipulate? What is the quality of life that you're leaving this person with? And are you going to be there after? Is this something that you just like unpack your tools and then do what you told them that you were going to do and pack up and never talk to them again? all of this is a terrible idea. I mean, you are relying on someone else's ethics and trusting them to do this. And doing it would be terrible. I have had people psychically attack me and not realize that they were doing it. And just, I mean, the way that that happened for me was verbally and emotionally very violent. And I mean, you know, I've been a vampire since birth, so there isn't a whole, I don't feel there's much more damage that could be done, but somebody who really cared and said, no, actually there is, I would totally believe. I mean, there are times where I have dark thoughts that are just like, you do know that you're heading into wraith territory. And I know that. Sorry. It's very personal to me. When you have a certain level of damage that you are on the humane thermometer, you know, when the caveman that has such a narrow scope and a fixed way of thinking, it's like all the way down here at the bottom, and vampires and it's like somewhere here in the middle. I like to think like the Dalai Lama is like up there in this humanity temperature gauge. I feel like even if you are in the community and you know what you're doing, you are scum if you think that you can do this to someone on purpose. I don't know how many times I could badmouth this. I could just keep going. Scientifically, there are laws against this. You know, I said in a previous video you can't make an apple an orange. Well, yes, you can't. I mean, there are chemical laws, scientific laws that just say that, no, you came in this way. You're not changing your chemical makeup. I mean, and, you know, science is working on this. Science is working on this. You know, there's already, you know, there's changing your gender, changing your hormones. There's gene therapy that people are researching. I mean, they are getting there. You know, eventually people who have a unfortunate genetic predisposition at birth will eventually receive gene therapy. I'm sure of it. Science is getting there. Is science going to get there with this? I do not think so. You know, and at what point of humanity's natural nature to try and control everything will we learn that this is not okay? A simple thing here is conservation of mass. The first law of thermodynamics, which is as follows: the conservation of energy. The total energy of the universe is constant and neither can be created nor destroyed. Simple physical change versus a chemical change. A physical change would be not necessarily changing the components of a substance. Peanut butter. Ice melts. It's still water. It's still peanut butter. That's what a physical substance is. A chemical change, down here I have an iron nail. Oxidized makes rust. Combustion, logs that are set on fire reduce to carbon. That's a chemical change. With these things that are in place for science, conversion, even in the fanciful theories of how this is meant to be done, biting, sharing blood, exsanguination, to death. I mean, all of these are just, science kicks them out so quickly. They're just so nullified. It's not real, guys. I'm sorry. If this is what you're looking for, you need to take a really good look at your life. I mean, and some people have come up to me and been like, please turn me. And I'm like, no, get away. And they're like, please, I am so sick. I'm unhealthy. And my heart just goes out to these people. I mean, there are some people in the community that are like, get off me. They don't care. I feel bad when I hear these things. Not only are you're so sick and toxic, at that point. Nobody is willing to be near you in the community. They don't want to touch you with a 10-foot pole. And I will sit there and try to explain to people, conversion is not what you want. It's not what you think it is. Vampirism is not what you think it is. I mean, when people go through their awakenings, I mean, they're all different, yet slightly similar. The quote skills or gifts that you think that we have are usually not what people are used to hearing. I did a small video about what goes through my head on a day-to-day basis spiritually from a vampire's point of view. And I may release that, I may not. It's very personal. And if I do it, it's because I'm willing to have it out there, because there is a certain amount of bravery to post that one. But just the reactions that we get internally. If you've ever seen a dog that has anxiety about smell or sound, or if they're in the car and they panic, it's information and sensory overload. And I mean, I remember a great episode from Caesar Milan of this dog that would be like just complete batshit in the car, and he would try to figure out what was making the dog so upset. And it was sensory overload. You know, the car would turn and the dog would really want to be outside on the grass, and it would have a complete fit. That's kind of what it's like for us. I mean, we can sit here and we can mask it for all it's worth. But when somebody walks by and you can smell, and they smell like food. This has happened to me in cars, and you know, you're driving and you're just, and people are like, what? I'm like, and they're like, spit it out, girl. What is it? And I'm like, you smell like food. And they're like, geez, hun, that's great. What kind of food? Barbecue. You smell like barbecue. And they're like, well, I haven't had any barbecue to eat. And I'm like, oh, thank God. Great. Now I know what it is. You know, maybe if I'm smelling barbecue, maybe it's coming out of their pores. Again, science. Reach for science first, guys. And of course, and then I'm like, think about it. You know, is what I'm reacting to really what I'm reacting to, or is it in my brain? And I think, is my mouth engorging with blood? Is my tongue becoming more sensitive? If the answer is yes, I look over and I'm like, are you bleeding? And they're like, oh my God. I'm like, you're on the rag, aren't you? You're on the rag. I'm like, you're on the rag in my car. And immediately I unroll the windows and turn down the heat. And they're like, I mean, every girl, you know, we think that you can smell us all the time, and we're constantly like perfume and like in the shower. And when a woman hears us, we are instantaneously embarrassed. And yet I've already told people already, the moment I said, you smell like food, I'm not telling you that you smell disgusting, but I am telling you that I can smell your DNA. You smell like food. My body is telling me it's time to eat. So gross. I can't tell you how many times that's happened to me where, you know, I go and visit my parents occasionally, and I've been upstairs and gone, it smells like dinner's almost done. And I go downstairs and I'm like, oh, I'm going to go take a little piece off of whatever it is she's cooking because I'm so excited. Maybe I'll be nice and I'll set the table. And I get down there and she's washing raw meat. And I'm like, you're just now starting it? And she's like, yeah. And I'm like, it smelled so good. I thought you were done. She's like, oh no, I'm just getting started. And she's like, just now putting salt and stuff on it. I'm like, if that doesn't make you want to run upstairs and throw up and just completely slay any appetite that you had, that's what it does for me. I mean, it's like being a bloodhound and reaching your target and being horrified. Those are my saying issues. I don't feel that other sayings have those issues. I feel like, you know, they reach their target and they're like, hooray! You know, my nose has led me to something exciting, is what I usually feel. I couldn't tell you. But I feel the community is extremely diverse and multiple opinions. If you have a different opinion and you'd like to leave a lengthy comment, please do. I also have to have a disclaimer that if you are not part of the vampire community, if the terms here that I have listed, psi versus saying, mean nothing to you, this video is probably not for you. I do know several people that are linked to subscribe to my channel that are kind of sitting here like, ooh, information for the first time. Congratulations, you found my channel. I don't think there's anything else I could possibly say. I don't want this video to be 30 minutes. Oh, I think I've hit everything. Scientifically, what is and is not possible. Fiction turning, fictional vampires. Laughed at B horror movies. I love horror movies, by the way, especially really cruddy ones. Oh, difference of opinions in the community. I think I've handled everything. But I'm totally up, you know, like, if you have anything to add, I'm totally willing to add on to this video, especially insight. If you're in the community and you have a good story about someone who begged you to turn them, or running into someone in the community who said that they could. You know, if you have these stories, please list them in the comments below. We love to hear this kind of stuff. Try not to name names, give nicknames, give aliases. But if you're coming into this conversation way late, like if you are finding this because Halloween is just right around the corner and isn't this a fun topic, this video really isn't for you. I know a couple of people that already are very interested, and of course I said before, advertising that turning is possible. These are not good people. We really don't allow them in the community. So if you've run into someone because it is October and it is near Halloween, and just think of your own personal safety. Wait until much later. Don't ever meet anyone public. And this, of course, is for members in the community that are, all my videos are generally for people that are above the age of 21. But if you do find this, this is information for your own safety. And with that, hopefully this is good night. And hopefully this is the last time I'll have to do this video. Fingers crossed.